This next clip that you're about to watch is awesome. It's Laura Ingraham and Ben Shapiro. They're on Fox News, and they're going to pretend like they're in favor of the working man.
What happens when a liberal journalist attends a Trump rally amongst the actual people? Well, writing in the Chicago Sun-Times, columnist Neil Steinberg recounts last week's presidential rally that happened with the steel workers, and he recounted it this way. "We need steel," Trump said. "We need steel plants. I look at the faces of you people. I could be one of you. I like you guys." Well, that struck me as either sincere or an amazing facsimile. The workers, for their part, couldn't give him a standing ovation because they never sat down. I left the hall thinking, Donald Trump is going to be reelected in 2020. The Democrats don't have anyone who can touch him. Bank on it. Don't hate me for being the one to tell you. Joining me now for reaction is Ben Shapiro, editor of the Daily Wire. Ben, I read that, and I thought, that's at least an honest liberal view. He hates Trump. He can't stand Trump. But going to a rally and seeing the reaction of the people and thinking, Kamala Harris or Cory Booker, are they really going to get the mojo going? What are your thoughts there?
I think it's exactly right. I mean, the culture war that's been raging in the country is really not a war between the elites and the non-elites. It's between the elitists and everyone else. People who think that jobs being lost at the New York Daily News is a national tragedy, but jobs being lost in the steel industry is totally fine because those are a bunch of rubes in the Rust Belt anyway. What President Trump really does better than virtually any other politician on the American scene is he conveys that he really does care about people who are in these industries, the people who are doing the so-called dirty jobs that people on the coast tend to think only illegal immigrants are willing to do. But what they won't acknowledge is that there's a systemic problem inside the Democratic Party, and screaming Medicare for all and running a Hillary Clinton clone like Elizabeth Warren is not going to fix the giant gap that they have with the middle of the country, whom they still consider a bunch of bitter clingers working jobs that they would never deign to get their hands dirty doing. Listen, I'm a guy who's from the coast, right? I'm from L.A. I spent some of my time in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I am an elite by any of these standards, but the bottom line is that the people in the middle of the country are doing work that is as important or more important than the people on the coast who are sitting in their coffee houses writing scripts.
Well, but you're not necessarily an elite. Just because you go to those nice institutions, if you understand the plight of the regular working person and you think that they have a role in our economy, you're not an elite.
Laura Ingraham and Ben Shapiro are now going to pretend like they're for the working man. The Fox News channel is fighting for the working man. That's really what's going to be put forth here in a serious way. Beyond comical. Beyond comical. So, first and foremost, let's be clear about Donald Trump's record and about what the Republican philosophy and ideology is and what they've been pushing for decades. Under Trump, wages are down. Real wages are down. That's a fact. So the idea of like, oh, he's helping the working man. Half of workers in America make $30,000 a year or less, and under Trump, wages are falling. 93,000 jobs have been outsourced under Trump. That's above and beyond Obama, and Obama wasn't good on the issue of outsourcing because he signed a bunch of free trade deals on his own. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that a guy who outsources his own jobs turns out, in the end, is actually fine with outsourcing. If you go and talk to, remember the whole carrier factory debacle early on in Trump's time in office? He did this whole, propaganda fest where he spoke about, I'm saving your jobs, I'm saving the carrier factory jobs, it's going to be unbelievable. And he had this press conference where people talk about, oh, thank you, Mr. President, for saving our jobs. Go talk to those same people today. There's been some follow-up reporting in some outlets, but it wasn't nearly as much as the original reporting, which every outlet covered, where they're like, oh, we were duped. That's what that was. We were duped. What happened was Trump came in and he gave a giant corporate welfare check to management, to the owner class at Carrier. They promised, hey, we'll keep some jobs here for a few more months or something like that. Then when nobody's looking, we're going to outsource to Mexico anyway. So it was actually a failure in two ways. They hosed the taxpayers with a corporate welfare check. So taxpayers got hosed, and then they outsourced the jobs anyway. If Trump never got involved, At least you would have not hosed the taxpayers with that corporate welfare check that carrier owners got. But instead, he came in, hosed the taxpayers, and then they outsourced the jobs anyway. And you go talk to the workers, and they're like, yeah, we were duped. We thought he was for working people. He's not for working people. He did populist rhetoric on the campaign trail. Turns out he's not actually populist. That's why his tax bill, 83% of the benefits go to the top 1%. I didn't make him do a tax bill like that. He chose to do a tax bill like that. Why? Perhaps because he actually only cares about the rich and the well-to-do and the owner class and the donor class. Perhaps that's why. And then the idea that like, oh, it's these Democrats are the ones, they don't care about blue collar jobs. Well, actually, yes and no. So yes, the neoliberal corporatist wing of the Democratic Party, they don't give a fuck about those people, and that's why I've been so hard on them from day one. But the idea that there's more support for working people in the Republican Party than in the Democratic Party, that's just hilariously untrue. I mean, now you have an entire wing of the Democratic Party, led by Bernie Sanders, and we're having now Ocasio-Cortez is going to be in power. You have some members of the Progressive Caucus. You have Raul Grijalva. You have Ro Khanna and others. They do deeply care about working people, and the policies they push for absolutely prove that. They're for a living wage. They're for pro-unionization bills like card check, for example. So it's so funny that these guys on Fox News pretend we're for the working man. Meanwhile, what's Ben Shapiro's position on trade deals? What's his position on a living wage? And then also, I like how, they do this whole rant about how the Democrats are so out of touch and they're not for working people. The implication is, of course, we are for working people, even though Trump's record has been horrible on working people. The Republican philosophy and what they've implemented, tax cuts for the rich, deregulation bills, anti-union bills. So none of that is for working people. Then Ben has the nerve to say, Democrats think if they just scream Medicare for all, that'll, get them to win and it'll help working people. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. That is what's going to happen. You can't pretend like these guys are against regular people and then slam Medicare for all in the next breath. Because if there's anything that will massively help regular people, it's Medicare for all. 30 million people today do not have health insurance in America. Under Donald Trump, 3 million people lost health insurance in his first year in office. If we do Medicare for all, everybody has health insurance. Everybody's covered. And by the way, you cut costs in half. So you cover everybody, you cut costs in half, you have better health outcomes, as has been proven by the various studies that rank, healthcare systems in all the modern nations. So, and then also there was just a fucking libertarian study funded by the Koch brothers. They were trying to put down Medicare for all, and they walked away going, oh, by the way, it would save $300 billion over a decade. What? So it's so bad, it's so expensive, it's so wrong, it's so terrible, except it covers everybody with better health outcomes and it net saves $300 billion. What? He's so in his own bubble, Ben Shapiro, that it's like he just gets to casually say that and nobody pushes him on it. When he's like, oh yeah, what, you think if you just fight for Medicare for all that'll help you win? And that'll be good for like regular people? Pfft, ridiculous. No, it's not, Ben. What's ridiculous is your commentary. That's what's ridiculous. And then finally, I love how loose they play with the facts. So he's like, oh, what are they going to do? They're going to scream about Medicare for all and then run a Hillary Clinton clone like Elizabeth Warren. Listen, I have my bones to pick with Elizabeth Warren. There's no doubt about that. I used to be totally in favor of her. Now I watch her with a skeptical eye from time to time. Okay, so my brain is not shut off. I'm not in rah-rah mode when it comes to Elizabeth Warren, because half the time she lets me down. But half the time, she indeed does not. And she's by far and away the second best senator in the country right now. So when Hillary Clinton is a dyed-in-the-wool, proven neoliberal corporatist warmonger. Elizabeth Warren, maybe she's partly a neoliberal corporatist, but no, not really. Like I said, clearly the second best senator. Elizabeth Warren gave us the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You know what Hillary Clinton's position on that would be? Go fuck yourself. because Hillary Clinton would have never came up with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Why? Because it actually cracks down on Wall Street criminals. It actually helps regular people return billions of dollars to defrauded customers when giant financial institutions took advantage of them. So the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was one of the best things that came out of Washington in the past few decades. I mean, it really is an amazing thing. It really does help regular people. Hillary would have never done that. She would have never came up with that. She would have never fought for that. Elizabeth Warren pushed President Obama to do that. So when Ben Shapiro, don't fall for this bullshit where it's just like, yeah, whatever, all the Democrats are the same and there's no nuance and there's no distinction between any of them. And, what are they going to do? They're going to scream about Medicare for all and run a Hillary clone like Elizabeth Warren. The fact that you think Elizabeth Warren is a Hillary clone says everything about how precise you try to be in your goofy commentary.